Good morning, my name is Kiran. Integrated test approach. Whenever we are discussing about the quality, two aspects are there. One is related to meeting requirements and second is fit for use. So meeting requirements is kind of like a technical term. Whatever the requirements are there, whatever the requirements mentioned in the BRD, FRD, okay. So these requirements, we need to make sure that all that requirements are meeting. At the same time, it should be usable, it should be useful for the user. So that's why fit for use. So whenever we are doing testing, there are different testing levels like unit testing, integration testing, system integration testing, we call it as a SIT, user acceptance testing, it is called as a UAT, and then production implementation, we call generally as a go live. Okay. So in unit testing, generally, smaller module, smaller component, we are testing it individually. Generally, developer are doing that testing. So it is a unit testing. Then integration testing is the combination of one or two modules. That's why we are integrating that modules and we are checking the interfaces so that it's called as integrated testing. So after that, actually, system integration testing and user acceptance testing come into the picture. Traditionally, what many companies are doing, they are doing system testing, SIT and UAT separately, but when you are doing any cycle, you are doing any kind of testing, there are different things we need to perform. Like first is the preparing test strategy or test plan. Test strategy is the high level approach document where we are deciding the approach towards the testing. So, for example, I am doing system integration testing or user acceptance testing. I need to first prepare test strategy document. Then I need to define the test processes. Then what will be the deliverables that I need to mention in the test strategy as well as in the test plan. Then task allocations, whatever the resources I have. So how I will allocate the task that we need to mention. Then we need to mentor team as well as monitor the team. Mentor team means we need to explain them the technical terminologies about that new change request or what are the new change requests are there or what tools we are using. Then related to defect tracking process, defect management process, then test automation. These things we need to mention there. Then project estimations. So how the project will go, what are the different milestones will be there in the project. So that we will mention in project estimations. Then interaction and status update to the client. So there are different calls which are happening. So discussion with different stakeholders and giving them the update. Then defect tracking process. So starting from raising the defect to tracking, monitoring and closing the defect. Then that is what I mentioned, prioritizing, assigning and closing defect. Then highlighting risk, if there are any risk, okay, whether it is a major risk or it is a critical risk or simple minor risk, that we need to highlight. Then support during post implementation. Suppose after UAT product is going live, so we need to provide the support during the implementation. Also after implementation, because customer is actually using that product, so if there are any issues there, then we need to tackle that issues. We need to highlight that issues to the stakeholders. Then testing completion report. We need to publish the testing completion report, and after that all testing artifacts, okay, we need to collect all testing artifacts and we need to perform the audit on that artifacts. These are the list of tasks and things what we need to perform in system integration testing, in user acceptance testing. But the new approach will make sure that there will be optimization of efforts. Both things will be done in parallel. Generally, what is happening that after providing the sign-off from SIT stage, UAT is starting. But based on the time, based on the cost, what we can do, it is not required that SIT should provide sign-up and then only UAT should start. It can happen that parallelly SIT and UAT can happen. So no entry control document is required for UAT to start the testing because it is an integrated test approach. So your efforts to prepare the entry control document, that efforts will be minimized. After that, what do you mean by SIT and what do you mean by UAT? What things we are performing in system integration testing and in user acceptance testing. In system integration testing, we are doing individual modules, we are testing individual modules, then we are checking product setup After that, we are doing the batch creations, then basic reporting functionalities we are doing, then key interfaces between the modules of the application under test, that things we are performing in system integration testing. Then comes the user acceptance testing. So generally in traditional term, once SIT gets completed, the UAT is getting started. In UAT, as name suggests, it is a user acceptance testing, mainly focuses on end users, so it should be fit for use for the end users. In UAT testing, graphical user interface has been tested, then different functionalities, in-depth functionalities has been thoroughly tested, then business scenarios and process flows are verified. These scenarios are converted into the test scripts, and the test scripts have been executed, then alerts, reports, layouts. These things are performed in UAT testing. Then in the usability testing and end-to-end testing. Usability testing from end-user perspective, and end-to-end testing means testing the flow from start to end so that no major functionality is broken and all things are working from start to end. So that's why UAT testing is performed. So whatever the tasks performed by SIT and UAT, both are different tasks. Okay, their approach is different. But thing is that if we combine that approach, okay, then how we can optimize the efforts, how we can optimize the resources, how we can make the cost optimization. That thing we will now see. Okay, this is the most important point. What are the advantages of integrated test approach? That we will see first. Okay. Now if you see the number of things what we need to perform in SIT and UAT, there is a duplication of efforts. Where are the duplication of efforts? First is that we have to prepare the entry control document. That efforts will get saved. Then preparing the test strategy and test plan. In test strategy, you have to prepare if there are two test managers, SIT test manager and UAT test manager. So both will prepare different test strategies. But in integrated test approach, it's not required for two test managers. There will be only one test manager and two TLs will be there. Both TLs will represent UAT and SIT. They will provide their inputs to the test manager who will represent UAT as well as SIT. And in that approach, once TLs give inputs, then they will prepare the integrated test strategy. One test strategy for SIT as well as UAT. They will prepare the integrated test strategy. What will be the test processes we are going to follow? What test processes SIT will follow? What test processes UAT will follow? That will be mentioned in that test strategy. Then test deliverables. Okay, SIT and UAT may have different test deliverables, but thing is that suppose there are sanity scripts, 100 sanity scripts. SIT also need to make sure that functionalities are working fine. UAT also need to make sure that high-level functionalities are working. But there are duplication of efforts, duplication of scripts. So that sanity scripts can be divided between SIT and UAT, so that suppose SIT will execute 100 scripts, UAT will execute 200 scripts. So what can happen out of 100 SIT scripts, 50 scripts may be duplicate which UAT may execute. So we need to reduce the duplicate efforts. That 50 scripts will be executed by only SIT team, not by UAT team, and SIT team will be responsible for that scripts and for that outcomes. Okay, so UAT will execute only 150 scripts and SIT will execute 100 scripts. So in previous scenarios, 300 scripts will be executed by UAT and SIT, but here in this approach, only 250 scripts will be executed by both teams. So, effort optimization technique, which is used in integrated test approach. Then task allocations. The test manager is the responsible person. He will direct both team leads of SIT and UAT. He will inform that how they should allocate the task so that we will get the output at the earliest and we will find the defects at the early stage. Then monitoring and mentoring team. Now thing is that suppose in SIT there are 10 team members and in UAT there are 15 team members. Suppose we need to perform the regression testing. Like sanity testing, the similar scenario can happen in regression testing and also in new CR testing. So SIT will share their scripts with UAT team. UAT team will see whether there are any duplicate scripts prepared by UAT team. If there are duplicate scripts, then they will remove that scripts. Also, if there are 5 CRs, 5 change requests, but not required that all 5 change requests will be related to user interface. Some some CRs will be related to interface related CRs and some will be related to usability. So interface related CRs will be executed by SIT team and interface related CRs will be executed by UAT script. So again, we will save the efforts because out of 5 CRs, 2 CRs will be executed by SIT team related to interface, 2 CRs related to usability will be tested by UAT team, and the CR which will have interface as well as usability, so that CR will be tested by SIT and UAT, and also in that CR both teams will sit together, there will be a combined call, they will decide that which kind of approach, interface related part will be tested by SIT team, usability related part will be tested by UAT team, and once they will identify the scope, then they will prepare the scripts accordingly. So like half of efforts will be divided there. Then project estimations. So based on the scope of SIT and UAT, combined project estimations will be provided to the stakeholders. Then interaction and status update to the client. So client is one only, but SIT in previous scenarios, SIT was sending their daily status mail. Then UAT was also sending status mail. So client has to check 2 mails whether both testing teams are on track or not. But in combined approach, there will be only one single status mail where SIT and UAT representation will be there, and test manager will send that mail to the client. Client will get all the updates in only one mail. So also there are savings of efforts because only one status mail will be sent. So both teams will not have a task of sending the individual status mail of SIT and UAT. Only test manager who will take inputs from both test leads, he will send the status mail. Then defect tracking process. In previous scenarios, there will be 2 defect managers, one for UAT and SIT. But in this approach, like a project test manager, there will be only one defect manager, and he will track both defects of SIT and UAT from start to end. Once he will discuss with stakeholders if any defect get reopened. Then he has a responsibility to interact with all stakeholders and get it fixed or get it assigned to developers or get it deviated. Okay. Then prioritizing, assigning and closing defects. This task will be done by the defect manager. Then highlighting risk. Test manager is the person who will highlight the risk of UAT and SIT. Then support during and post implementation. So SIT and after implementation and during implementation, suppose there is any risk, any defect. So SIT and UAT will analyze that defect. They will see whether it is the list from SIT or UAT, and only that team will analyze that defect. Not both teams will analyze that defect. So there is also the saving of efforts. Then test completion report. The final report after completion of entire testing will be sent by test manager, and in that test completion report, the status of SIT and UAT will be mentioned. How many defects raised by SIT, how many defects raised by UAT, both will be mentioned in test completion reports. Also, how many scripts executed by SIT, how many executed by UAT, what CRs have been covered by SIT, what CRs have been covered by UAT. So all will be included in test completion report. So only one test completion report will be sent to entire stakeholders, and approval will be taken accordingly from all stakeholders. One approval from one stakeholder for integrated test completion report is sufficient, and then audit on test artifacts. So after completion of testing, there is a test audit performed by the client, where client can check the artifacts of SIT and UAT in one folder only, and one combined report will be published. So after all this explanation, you will came to know that by using integrated test approach, we can save almost 35% efforts. Suppose for a project which will require $1,000, so it will be get completed within $650 only. So we can save 35% efforts there, where in previous scenarios both teams will work hard, both teams will take the time to complete. Here there will be saving of time because both teams will perform the testing parallelly. So no entry control document, no separate test completion report, no separate defect manager, no separate test manager, number of resources will be less. So this way, this is the very effective model, this is the very new concept. Now some companies are adopting that concept, and gradually it will be implemented in bigger organization as well. So that's all about this integrated test approach between SIT and UAT. Thank you.